we can see my candle. Hello, beautiful people. My name is Kristen. Thanks for stopping by my channel to see what I'm going to read in the month of April. So I have some things that I'm definitely going to try to read, and then I have 3 books that I'm going to let you pick which one I'm going to read, because I want to kind of read one more and I couldn't decide, and I said I'm just going to throw it out there. So I am going to read number 3 in the Apothecary Diaries. This is a lovely Japanese girl who just is brilliant with chemicals, herbs, natural remedies, and then she gets into all kinds of adventures, trying to save friends and family, work in the royal palace, all this kind of goodness. It is a lot of high adventure and so much fun. Then for my nonfiction, I know the Wager was an actual ship. This is a piratey kind of high seas shipwreck swashbuckling drama adventure. This is David Greene. This got all kinds of awards a couple years ago. I'm not sure if it's historical fiction or if it's pure nonfiction, but just in case, I am definitely reading it. And just in case, I do have an S.C. Gwynne, Hymns of the Republic. This is just strictly the very end of the Civil War. So just that last 12 months, and it jumps around the country, so to speak, talking about the very end of the war and the wrapping up of it. And I think I know quite a bit, but I think I'm going to learn some really interesting and maybe difficult things. I'm not going to say this name correctly, so I will just kind of feature it. This is a classic, The River Between, that I bought at a Barnes & Noble grand reopening. Hadn't heard of this book, but it is a thin little novel that's looking at the struggle of a specific African village, kind of struggling through colonialism and becoming more modern, or coming into some of the, I guess we would say, modern day conveniences, but then what are you giving up, or what are you going away from, or how are the traditional ways going to be changed or lost, so to speak. So I look forward to that as my classic for the month. Then for my fiction, I have The Starless Sea. This is Erin Morgenstern, and this is the last book that was on my mom's shelf, and she had read this one and really, really liked it. And I loved Night Circus. I know it's kind of controversial. Some people like it, some people really don't like it. I really like it. I like the Night Circus quite a bit. I do appreciate the criticisms and what people say are not perfect about the book. I get that. But overall, it's still worthy. It's still a worthy adventure. And this one is also, I think, bookish. I know there's doors and choices and a surreal kind of situation where there's somebody reading a book and then it's actually their life. So like if you're reading a book and it starts talking about what you just did yesterday in detail, that would be really mysterious and creepy wonderful. So I think it's that kind of book, but I'll let you know. I also have Robin Sloan. This is Sourdough, or Lois and Her Adventures in the Underground Market. I think she's like a techie kind of bookish nerd, doesn't really associate with a lot of people, introvert, and has a market that had some friends who need to leave unexpectedly for family reasons or an immigration issue or something of that nature, where she ends up with literally their sourdough and trying to keep it alive. And I know it's one of those things where you have like a starter, and I don't bake, but I understand the general principle of sourdough, and it sounds wonderful. So it kind of forces her into being social, into community, into new adventures, and into this kind of being more active in the market and in the world. So that sounds lovely and wonderful. I also have The Watchmaker of Filigree Street, Natasha Pulley. This is a story, I'm not totally sure, but what it sounds like is there is a mysterious watch that kind of shows up that somehow pulls the finder, this gentleman, into, away from an explosion or something that happens. And so he somehow goes on a quest for the watchmaker, where it came from, the origins of it. And then we find out that it is Japanese made, and he's in London. And so I don't know that there's time travel necessarily, but there's culture travel, and there's mystery involved, and it sounds like it's going to be a lovely story, and I like the cover too. So definitely want to check that out and get to it. Now, I have 3 books for nomination that I need you to tell me which one to read. I am still exploring Ann Tyler, trying to get into her. I know she has a ton of books. This is back when we were grown-ups. This is one that has pretty good ratings. It is a woman who has basically chosen a life of kind of high society. She actually, I think, puts on even parties for other people, but she definitely hosts a lot, and it's very highbrow and a lot of political power and those kind of issues. But then she gets to a point where somehow she's looking back, reflecting at a turning point of her life, kind of the road less taken, or maybe midlife crisis evaluation, that kind of thing. That's the feel I get from it. So that one, When We Were Grown-Ups. Then I have an Emily Giffin, The Lies That Bind. I have read some Emily Giffin. I find her to be easy reading. Usually there's some kind of romance in it. This one, there is definitely romance. It is a woman who is kind of new to New York City, like gets involved with a man at a bar kind of thing. They strike up a friendship. It's kind of mysterious, they don't really know each other very well. 9/11 happens and he disappears, and then she goes on a quest, and other people are also questing and looking for him, and who is he really, kind of thing. And so it seems like a good adventure, and it is the 25th anniversary of 9/11, so it seems like maybe it's an appropriate time at some point during this year to get to that book. So I'm looking at it. John Greene, what else did he write? He wrote something, The Fault in Our Stars, which I liked okay. I don't think I liked it as much as it was hyped. I thought it was overhyped, but I thought it was good, and I'm glad I read it. This one's called Looking for Alaska. So this is kind of the opposite of the girl in New York who's looking for the new start or whatever. This is a man who's looking for something that's more unique to life, more the purpose of life kind of thing. And he comes across a girl named Alaska, and she's just really kind of eclectic, party-esque, mysterious, has a lot going on. And it's supposed to be a deep dive look of how, like, when 2 people collide, they really affect and alter one another and can change each other completely, which is true for any deep relationship, I guess, we encounter in our life. So I think any of those 3 will be good. But you tell me which one of these 3 should be my last book that I should read in April. Should I read Tyler or Giffin or Greene? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any of these others that I'm planning to read that you've read, drop me a comment or let me know which one of those you're looking most forward to. Hope that you have a great day, blessed month. Happy reading.